The last thing I want to talk about is all the different plot arcs in Pokemon Adventures. And then I'll talk about a little purchase I made recently that turned out to be kind of a mistake. I've spoken mostly about the Red plot arc, but what follows it? Well, not surprisingly, the manga is once again proven to be better than the anime, as it is capable of moving on to other characters other than Red. In Pokemon Yellow, and yes, the creator of Pokemon Adventures actually does make different plot arcs for each special version, despite the fact it's basically the same game. But still, we get more plot arcs, so what do I care? After becoming a great trainer, Red goes to face off against the Elite Four. Unfortunately, the Elite Four are evil. Red is captured by the Elite Four, and only his Pikachu Pika is able to escape. Pika is put in the hands of a young boy named Yellow, who has a big secret which I won't be spoiling in this video. Even though Red doesn't appear until the very end, the Yellow saga is still based in Kanto. However, at the start of the Gold and Silver manga, the adventuring is shifted over to Johto, and Red and his friends don't have as much activity over there until the very end. Now this arc also follows the Gold and Silver Pokemon games plot very well, but it adds something, 'cause it didn't feel like there really was much of a main villain in the Pokemon Gold and Silver games, just some old Team Rocket executives or something. While in this one you have the Masked Man, who uses some kind of ice attack, and he actually nearly takes the lives of two of the main characters, Gold and Silver. I won't reveal the identity of the Masked Man, though it is pretty obvious. But you should know that the past of Green and Silver are very intertwined with the Masked Man, and we learn a lot more about Green in the Gold and Silver plot arcs. In the end, all the trainers and villains are fighting on legendary Pokemon and duking it out for the fate of the world. The Gold and Silver plot arcs became my favorite until I read Ruby and Sapphire. I thought the characters in Ruby and Sapphire were pretty lame in the beginning. You get a battle-hungry girl named Sapphire and the contest-loving pretty boy Ruby. Ruby's father wants him to battle, but he decides to run away and do Pokemon contests instead. But believe me, you do not mess with Norman. He will stare at you and make your head explode. At first I didn't like Ruby or Sapphire, but when you look into their past, you discover they're actually the exact opposite of what you believe them to be. Also, the battle between Kyogre and Groudon was incredible, taking up about 4 volumes of the 7-volume series. It was such a brutal battle, it made the Pokemon Anime's version of the battle look like an episode of Barney.
I love you, you love me, we're a happy family, with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too?
Unfortunately, I don't have time to talk about the Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green and Emerald plot arcs, but just know that they're very good and you should definitely read them. Sometimes life just isn't fair. After Pokemon Yellow, the Pokemon Adventure series was discontinued in the United States by Viz. It was something to do with the lack of sales. Viz just couldn't keep it going. Well, way to go. If you're watching this video and you never read Pokemon Adventures, it's all thanks to you it got discontinued. Thanks a lot. Oh, wait a second. I never bought any of the volumes. I just read them in the library. So that means it's my fault. Oh man. And the worst part of it all is to this day, the Pokemon anime is still running here in America. Life just isn't fair. The manga is just so much better than the anime. Recently I bought some Pokemon manga called Pokemon the Diamond and Pearl Adventures, thinking it was happening much later in Pokemon Adventures. But Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Adventures has nothing to do with Pokemon Adventures. Still, it's a very good manga, and definitely better than the Pokemon anime. So be sure to pick it up. This concludes this episode of Manga vs. Anime. In the end, Pokemon anime, fail. Pokemon manga, total win.